Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so this is a bonus reading for Sagittarius, and our card tonight is the Strength card. And this comes from Tarot of the Abyss deck. And let's take a look. What do these tea leaves have to say tonight? And now if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. It is free to subscribe. So we have a cute little bird here. And I had a comment. Somebody asked me, "You're breathing into the mic." I'm trying to stay away from it, and I apologize. I have the flu, I've had the flu. I think I'm getting over it. I'm pretty close, but I'm so congested still, and so I'm trying to keep it to a minimum. I apologize if I am huffing and puffing a little bit, but it absolutely, I had tried to steam myself. I tried to take some tea to help alleviate it before I started, and it's getting better, yes, but not all the way there. And I forget myself. I forget how loud I'm breathing. Okay, here we go. Hi, TT. Hello, baby. Okay. Oh, come over here. Come on, Mama. I don't want you bumping stuff. Hello. Okay, so I'm looking up here, and it looks like we have I'm thinking it looks like JAO, and I'm trying to make sense of it. But it might be scrambled. It could be part of a name or a word. Hi. You're just sniffing right in my ear. It's tickly. Okay. And let's see. We're going to go back around here. Right here, I see an elephant head. I see Ganesh. And we know that Ganesh is a Vedic or Hindu deity. And kind of such a beautiful... I have a beautiful tapestry in my daughter's room of him. The attributes of are health, prosperity, joyousness, fairness, and I think of it as the ability to kind of find the joy in things, even when it is a little rough, right? Being able to rise above. And I believe that the laughing joy of this icon, it really does lend itself to that idea of good health, being in a state of, I don't know how to say it exactly, good health, whatever that means for you, right? There's, it could be different for all of us depending on what we have going on. But being a person, which you are quite magical if you are able to de-stress your life. I am still trying to figure this out every single day, how to get some of the stress out of there. But if you are a person who has figured out in some way to alleviate some of the stressors and live a life that, promotes kind of a little bit more leisure, a little bit more time for yourself, a little bit more time to get your full sleep cycle going, have restorative sleep, wake up feeling rested. All of these things are so beneficial. Now, they're not easy. They're not easy to achieve, are they? But I do think that I think that this is definitely something that is important to you. Okay, this is something that you prioritize in your life. This wellness, this journey of self healing, right? Kind of a sustainability of the way that you live. Maybe environmental. I think that kind of goes hand in hand. But I think even more than that, sustainability of your physical form, your mental health, your emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being, and trying to find a way to balance all of these things the best that you can, and laugh a little bit more, have a little more fun, sleep a little later sometimes, have a nap once in a while, and really just kind of figure out how to enjoy your life instead of feeling like you're always racing to the next thing. You're always preparing to begin working on the next task, And so I think even just in these small ways, it doesn't have to be some, follow your bliss and, you're doing like laughing yoga and living on the beach and this kind of thing. Although that sounds cool, does sound pretty awesome. But I do think that you're implementing in ways that are doable for you, and this is a huge shift in your well-being from top to bottom. Okay, a very holistic shift in lifestyle. Okay. Now, I wanted to take a look. We have a person up here, okay, and then they have a child right here. And it looks like maybe another child here, and all holding hands, okay? There's a sense of family. We also have a Gemini symbol there. And so I wonder if... I'm wondering if you have, maybe you have twins, or maybe there are twins in the family. But I feel like there's this emphasis on maybe one of your children is a Gemini, or I don't know, maybe there's a real closeness between children, or something where it almost sometimes feels like, and now I wonder if they're maybe teenagers or adults now, but they kind of almost, I don't know what it is, how to say it exactly, like they kind of team up against the family, or even against you in some ways. Not that they, like, they're not disrespectful. I don't think it's like, terrible, or that they're cruel or anything. But I almost kind of feel like there's a sense of like they have their really close relationship, and then there's everybody else. And I feel like in a lot of ways this has been hard for you, because I think when they were young, there's a sense of them being really, you all being such a close unit, and kind of feeling like that was always going to be the case. Now, I do think that this will change. As maybe they get older, there are grandchildren, great-grandchildren, this sense of family community really taking priority for them again. And I think realizing that although they have a really close relationship, there's room for other people within the family to be close as well. There doesn't need to be this kind of chasm between them and everybody else, you know. And I think that maybe they're fairly young, at least young adults. And, you know, when you're in your teens, 20s, even 30s, it's hard to get a hold of people, these, you know, people within that age group. They don't text back, they don't call back. So you know, it kind of can feel like you're always chasing them down. But I think that will change. Okay, I don't think that this is something that will last forever. But I can see where it would feel quite hurtful, you know. I do. I sometimes think about my daughter, you know, she's 4 years old, but I worry that someday, you know, and of course I want her to go out into the world and have a exciting and interesting and full life, but I also, I want her to be with mom and dad forever, you know, so I can understand where this would be hard, of course. But, you know, I think that at the same time, and now I'm looking over here, we have a person who looks like they are, I almost kind of feel like building something. I see reaching up, and it also kind of looks like a little, like an angel, like a tall angel. You can see kind of the head up here and the kind of praying hands here, the wing here. And then we have a person over here kind of reaching up to those praying hands. So I feel like even in this place where you feel like, you know, the dynamic of your family is a little different, I do believe that this has been a time where you've, you know, you haven't just like languished in the grief of your kids going off or your family members going off. But I think that you've really explored yourself, and I think this is why you've done so much self-work. But I also think that there is a sense of being very close to spirit, or however you perceive that kind of unseen energy, that divinity, the universe. And I feel like there's a lot of peace in your heart around things that maybe before they absolutely, you know, were maybe terrifying, maybe very difficult to kind of figure out how are you going to deal with the hurts of your life, right? The traumas of your life, the events that, you know, really were very devastating for you. Okay, and I feel like there were times when it just felt so unmanageable. But in this time in your life, I feel like you have done so much processing. You have really spent some time, you know, considering, you know, are these things that happened to me? Are these things that happened around me? Are these things that you know, leave their imprint on me? Do they become part of who I am? Or are these things, these ordeals that we go through, are they things that we are walking through? You know, as we would walk through a park or a city block or whatever. It feels familiar. It maybe feels like home. We know kind of the goings on. We've watched the landscape change over time. We maybe know some of our neighbors and the stores and the plants and the animals and whatever's going on there. But are we, do we take that in as part of our personality? Is this maybe you do, I don't know. But I would say that sometimes these things that happen in our life, the painful experiences, the tower moments, it's important for us to look at these as kind of transient happenings. These are, and they have attached to them transient emotions. I think that we can have a tendency to really hold on to the feelings that we have, our coping mechanisms, and so on. And I'll give an example here. My parents, I've had a lot of death in my life. But the first really important ones were my parents. And they died when I was around 11 and 12 years old. And then a series of other people died, and then it was okay for a while. And then in my 20s, a lot of people died around me for a variety of reasons. And, if you know from my readings, I'm in recovery. So a lot of it was people going through, substance issues and things. And so I'm no stranger to death. But, I think for quite a while I felt like my grief is who I am. Every time it started to get to a point where I was starting to feel a little more coming out of that, then something would happen. And then it felt like it was very much part of my identity, is to be this person who is living this tragic life and has all these, terrible things happen, and I'm kind of just cursed with that. And that's what it is, right? At some point I had to decide, bad things are going to happen in life, and especially death, but this is not something that I will choose to make part of, who I am as a being. It is part of who I am as a being. It's not my identifier, right? It's not my main identifier, which it was for a long time. And there's nothing wrong with it being that way. Let me just say, I'm not trying to tell you just get over it. That's not what I mean at all. But for me, I realized that these are things that we choose on some level to stick with. Now, if you're going through that first year or so after, you're just in it. You're in the thick of it. But as the years go by, we have to kind of make decisions about how do we really identify ourselves. What are the main, if you had to tell somebody like 5 things about your life, good, bad, neutral, whatever, would this be one of the big things? Okay. And that's not to say that it's not important, but we end up deciding kind of the atmosphere of our existence on some level, at least how we perceive it. And I know, I know it's not easy. It's not easy to, especially if you are going through some hard things, to hear what I'm saying and think, Lenor, that's ridiculous. That's like, I'm kind of a victim in what's happening in my life right now. And you're telling me that, at some point I have to stop identifying with the pain that I'm going through. yeah, it's it sounds hard. It's a hard thing to say, even to people. It's a hard thing for me to even realize for myself. There are plenty of days where I wallow in the things that have happened to me in my life, abuses. I share this on here too, and it's just that I feel like I don't have to qualify my experience, but I want you to know that I'm not just somebody sitting on my high horse talking at you. But I went through SA, which, is, I can't say it on YouTube, but a kind of abuse that went on in my childhood for many years. And it was something I've been in therapy for many years through my adulthood. And also, like, I've said before, I'm in recovery, and that's another thing. I'm an addict. I've been in recovery for almost 10 years. And then all the death, as I mentioned, and other things. I mean, just so many other little and big other things. And so, I'm saying all this as a person who I really do believe that we don't have to get stuck in the rut of our self history. Now we all take our own time with it, okay? And we all need to grieve things and process things and come to them when we can, right? I only recently was able to even begin to do deep therapy work about the abuse that I had as a child. And I was, like 36 maybe? I think like 36 when I started intensive therapy for it. And so you can start at any time. It's never too late, and it's something that whatever we've been through, nobody's pain is bigger than anybody else's. It's all relative. When we allow ourselves, and this is what I'm looking at here. I know I've talked about myself a lot, I'm sorry. But I want it to relate to you all. I want you to know that, like, we are kin. And that's why I talk about these things. I want you to know you are not alone. And this is a place that is safe. And this is a place where I'll speak my truth. I'm not afraid to do that anymore. And now I'm going to get all teary-eyed. But, I look at this and I do see in a lot of my readings things that stand out, and I'm like, should I talk about this or not? I don't know. But when I see that there's somebody who has worked so diligently to figure out a way to grow as a being, to heal as a being, to break cycles within their, generational cycles within their community, within the culture, or, whatever it is. Here's another one. I've been in poverty for a lot of my life. So trying to break that cycle as well is that's huge work, right? It's almost impossible. And so to see when somebody else is doing similar work, it's, you see, it's like game recognized game, as we used to say. I see you out here. I see what you're doing, and I know it's not easy. This is the most important work there is. Okay, this is where we not only heal ourselves, but we are healing so many people around us. When you go out into the world, you are putting out energy, sending out a beacon of light into the close community that you have, or even, maybe you are somebody who is online and sharing your stories, or sharing love and inclusiveness and allowing people to be who they are around you. And, for that to be in a genuine, being a genuine place for other people to dwell, as kind of cosmic kin, right? We're brothers, sisters, and so on. That's a magical thing. There's not a lot of that in the world, really. We like to think there is, but in a really honest and functional way, there's not. There's not. So, I feel like you are, not only doing the work for yourself, but you are somebody who, quite literally, you're saving other people. Because if you just look out there in the world, if you can think of people that you interact with at work or passively in public places or even within your own family or friends group, how many people are suffering depression and anxiety, feeling lonely, feeling alienated, afraid to talk about the things that they need to say, to ask questions that they don't know who to turn to. You are a person that has great strength, and that flows out of you. It changes the way that people feel when they come into proximity with you. There is, it's kind of like, I imagine that really, like a mother bear kind of energy. But you have that with other people. Like, I feel like you are somebody that, if they needed some kind of assistance, or they, something happened and they were terrified, or, somebody, they were scared. I keep thinking of, like, they're scared to walk to their car, right, at night. Getting off of work, and it's like across the parking lot, it's dark out there. You would be the first person to say, hey, we'll walk together. Just wait for me for a few minutes. I will make sure that you get to your car safely. I think you're also somebody that when somebody you love, or, even somebody, an acquaintance at work or something, you become friendly. If they came to you asking about, oh, I'm dating this person, or what do you think of the situation? I feel like you are somebody who would be honest with them, not afraid to say, like, whatever this is that's happening, it's not okay. This isn't normal. This isn't how people treat each other. Instead of trying to kind of gloss it over and not get involved and so on. I think you are somebody who absolutely would protect yours, right? And you would make sure, hey, I'm not telling you what to do, but I see this and I think, this is weird. This doesn't feel right. There's something strange here. If that's well received or not, I don't think you care. You're going to say how you feel. So I think that's such a important, we need more people like this, right? It's lacking in an honest way. Okay, let's see. Now we have a bird kind of sitting here on top of this perch. And then we have a little tree, like a baby tree growing. And I have a shovel. I like this one. It reminds me of the robins that have just returned, my little babies. We call them worm boys because last year, or maybe 2 years ago now, in the garden. My daughter and I were, working in the garden every day. We had a couple of robins that would come and watch us, and they always had worms hanging out of their mouths. And so we started calling them Worm Boy. And so now that's what we call all the robins. And my daughter was so excited with me when we saw that they had returned to all of the lawns in the area. So I feel like this is like, there's this sense of maybe beginning something, some new interest or project. Maybe you're taking on like a new craft. You found something that you thought was cool. But I do think that this is going to be something that kind of grows into a real love, something that you're passionate about. And I do feel like there's a sense of a lot of a fulfillment and excitement and joy there. And this will be something pretty lasting. Now, I also see that where you are kind of turning towards this thing to spend your time doing, I feel like you are burying old things as well. And I feel like this is maybe more in the social aspect. It almost feels like maybe you were part of something, maybe a club or some kind of sport or, whatever it was. It just didn't work out for one reason or another. I think the social aspect of it was not exactly what you were expecting, or maybe, it just got to be too complicated or whatever. And I feel like kind of you're putting that away and moving into this new thing. And I think that it's like night and day. Okay. So definitely a movement towards something really enjoyable here in the near future. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the gratitude. A little. I don't know how to say these. It's just the gratitude cards, I guess. A little deck of appreciation. Okay. And they're really cute. They're just little tiny ones. I'm just going to flip through and stop where it feels right. We'll take a look there. I like that one. That's it. Okay, it says, embrace compassion. Send the energy of love to people who have hurt you. Whew. Yeah. Yes. And also, my goodness. Sometimes that's hard, but yes, I think, if we can get to that point, that's some real deep work. Being able to kind of, wish blessings upon those who have hurt us. It's like kind of it's the beginning, or maybe it is the end of letting go of some of that old stuff, not carrying around that hurt with us anymore. Which, all in our own time. Okay, so Sagittarius, thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. And if you'd like to leave a comment... if you'd like to leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. So, I don't know why she's doing that to the door. It's already open for her. Yes, please leave a comment if you'd like to. I read them all. I used to be able to get to every single one of them quickly. now it takes a little time. There's a lot of comments, but I do read them all. I want you to know that. And I absolutely it's been one of the great blessings of my life to get to know so many of you on here. And I love hearing from you. I love the people that have been here for a long time and everybody that's kind of newer coming in. I remember you. I remember your comments and your stories and, you know, your insights and little revelations and things. And just let me tell you, I absolutely hold you in my heart. Okay. So with that, I will say I love you again, and take care of yourself. We'll talk in just a few days.